Hey guys, Glenn Ocean here with a quick video. It's a follow-up video following up on the previous one where we were talking about mounting hardware on your kitesurfing board. A reasonable question came about foot straps. How tight should it be? How much do you have to tighten it up? Okay, should it be loose and open or should it be tight? Well, that's the question I'm going to answer in this video. Before actually I'm going to dive into it, let me give you 2 pointers, 2 tips, 2 advice. Number one is before you make any adjustments on a foot strap, make it wet. Soak it up. Okay, throw it up in the water and let it sit there for a few seconds. Okay, do the same thing with your harness. Okay, it's the same process. Simply because a large portion of the strap itself is made of a fabric. And if it's dry, then dry things usually shrink. Okay, so soak it up. It will become more loose, more playable, and easier to manage. Right. So that's pointer number one. What's the second pointer? The second pointer is I hope that you picked or you have the pad that is of the right size for you. I'm talking about the length from heel to toes. Okay, this size over here. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but these pads, these foot straps, they come in a variety of sizes. Not always, not all the manufacturers make a variety. Some of them stick with one. Let's take a look. See, this manufacturer over here produced these foot pads in one size. All right. Other manufacturers, they go a little bit further and they make at least 2 sizes. All right, medium and large, and you have to figure out what it is. Now this manufacturer made even an extra effort and put the shoe size in there so you can have a better understanding which size do you fall in. And this maker actually made it in 4 different sizes, making it even more custom fit. Now back to the question, how tight should these guys be? Okay, and the answer is not too tight and not too loose. It should be somewhere in the middle. I'll explain what it is in a minute, but the silver lining, kind of the most important thing when you tighten up your foot straps is this. You should be able to slide your feet out from the strap. You should be able to lose your board, disconnect from the board on demand. Okay, whenever you see something is about to happen, usually we're talking about some dangerous situation, you should be able to slide out from the board without any extra effort. You don't have to use your hands to undo the tie over here. You don't have to open up the Velcro or unbuckle anything. You should be able to lose your board whenever you feel is needed. Okay, and it should be done effortlessly. Okay, so that being said, now actually at this point, a lot of new beginner kite surfers may be thinking, well, what about those boots? What about boots that professional athletes use to ride in obstacle parks? So let me explain something to you. You see, those boots, they came from wakeboarding. Okay, and when it comes to wakeboarding, well, there are kind of 2 parts to it. One is the board, the other one is the boat. Okay, the pulling agent, so to speak. So even though you kind of hardwired, semi-permanently connected to the board in wakeboarding, you're not connected to the boat by any other means other than just the handlebar. And in case something is about to happen or happened, you just let go of the bar and you will slow down and come to a full stop. Still connected to the board, but the boat is getting away without you. In kitesurfing, the situation is different when it comes to boards and the pulling agent, which is a kite. We are connected to the kite in a more complex way. It's not just the letting go that gets you disconnected from the kite. Okay, there are 3 levels of safety. There is a harness, there is a spreader bar, there is a hook, there is a chicken loop, chicken pin. There is a safety leash, and there are at least 3 levels of safety. And to engage each and every one of them, you have to work with some kind of a mechanical device, which could get jammed, and it takes time. So on demand, you cannot in the instant, you cannot disconnect from the kite. But you should be able to do this, to disconnect from the board, okay, especially in the beginning. So those athletes, I hope they understand the risk, they're taking a chance, but here is the kind of fuller picture. If you use the board with boots, with boot bindings from the wakeboarding, and you're connected to the kite, then you may end up in a situation where the kite is violently pulling you in one direction. The board, being still kind of semi-permanently attached to your feet, is pulling you in the other direction. Well, it's not going to actually pull you, but it will work as an anchor. And you're going to be pulled apart. You're going to be the middle link. You're going to be in between those 2 forces. And I don't know if you want to be in that position, because usually it leads to some injuries. Okay, so in the beginning, while you're still figuring out what is what in kite surfing and kiteboarding, please stick with these kind of bindings. Okay, save the boots for later. Okay. Now, talking about too tight and too loose. What is too tight? You see, this thing, it does look like a house slipper. The pair looks like house slippers, and there is a reason for that. You see, there is no support in the back where your heel should be. The reason is that you have to be able to get out. So if you're thinking, well, maybe you should tie it up like, really tight before the beginning of every session, well, it's not the case. Okay, we usually make the adjustments, pick the tightness of this strap, probably like once or twice a season. You can make some adjustments as you go through the session, especially if you're riding hard, but it's not like you have to tie them up as a running shoes before you go for a run. Okay, it doesn't have to be that tight. On the contrary, on the opposite side, what is too loose? Well, you see, if when you insert your foot over here and you're able to push it forward past the edge of the pad over here, and your toes begin to hang over the board, over the edge, then it's too loose. You have to tighten this strap up a little bit more. There is something else to keep in mind talking about tightness of a foot strap. You see, kitesurfing boards, they are symmetrical. Okay, they don't have a nose or tail. They don't have a bow or stern. What happens is once we get into the foot straps, we continue riding like this for the duration of the session. The whole day. We can ride like this all day. What I mean is there is no jibing. There is no switching legs like this, okay, like when it comes to windsurfing. Okay, this kind of sport, we slide in, we get into the foot straps, and we keep on riding like this. But what happens when we change a direction? What happens when we make a turn? Let's say for now I'm moving to my right. So what I will do is my shoulders will be pointing in the direction where I'm traveling, where I'm going. Okay, my weight will be shifted to the back leg. At this point, it's my left leg, and my pelvis will be turning into that direction as well, somewhat. Okay, a little bit, not fully, but like 45 degrees. So what happens to my feet? Pay attention. Just to be more comfortable, I pivot actually both feet, the front and the rear. Okay, and for that I have to have some room available in a strap. Okay, when I change direction, when I start moving in that direction to my left, I transfer my weight to the new rear leg. Okay, I turn my pelvis in the direction where I'm going, and also instead of keeping that heel sticking out in the direction where I'm traveling, I actually much rather have my toes pointing in the direction. Okay, this would be a more comfortable position. Well, this is the reason the heel side of the pad is wider. Oftentimes it's wider than the toe side, simply because you should be able to pivot on your feet. You should be able to wiggle your feet left and right like this. Okay, this is why there is plenty of room available on either side of the pad. So if you are unable to pivot on your feet like this, then your straps are too tight. You should loosen them up. Okay, also keep in mind that, especially if you're riding in the cold waters, make sure that the straps don't cut your blood supply to your feet, to your legs, when you pivot like this, because you got to stay warm and keep your feet warm as well. All right, my friend, I hope it was a useful video. I hope you learned something new. Keep on watching these videos, keep on educating yourself, learn more and more and more about kiteboarding. And when you feel that you're ready, get out there, have fun, and be safe. And I'll see you in the next video, or on the next blog post, or on the beach. Ciao.